My name is James Frazier, and I am the Program Director for the Final Expense Protection Agency. Now, as the bullet point indicates, we are a local nonprofit organization that's committed to providing educational resources such as the workshop we're trying to do in your establishment, as well as provide charity assistance, financial support, and resource assistance, making sure that we provide our clients or our members with qualified, quality resources to help meet their need and protect their families. Now, many of you may not be aware of what final expense protection is all about, but believe it or not, it is something that impacts every single person. Why? Because everyone dies. And so if it's a certain fact that all of us will die, then clearly there's another fact around the corner that there will always be an expense associated with our demise or our death. This workshop is actually designed for that purpose. Now, the Final Expense Protection Agency, in terms of what it is, our mission is real simple. We want everyone protected. So we provide education, charity, and resources to ensure that families have the funds to pay for final expenses resulting from the death of a loved one. And how we do this, we do it in three ways. The first is that we provide education. That's why we do the workshops. That's why we do the seminars. That's why we do several events across the community, really educating folks on what's available, how to get it, what to do about it. We also provide charity because we realize sometime in some of our communities, there just isn't the resources to take advantage of this tremendous need. Better yet, with the economy the way it is, sometimes this is the lowest priority for many families, and we want to try to help them navigate through that. And then lastly, through our mission, we provide support through resources. We understand that if a person decides to move forward in final expense insurance, it's important that they have a resource they can go to that's trusted. Now, during our workshops, which take roughly about 35 to 40 minutes in duration, including Q&A, we break the discussion down into four areas. And the first and most critical discussion point is really defining what final expense protection is really all about. We want to really convey here the need for it and how to best acquire it. And then when we move from the overview of final expense protection, we start to really educate them on how to select the right product for their particular need. And we have defined a three-step process, which starts with, first of all, just understanding the need, which we will do in the first section of our workshop. But once that need is established, then clearly we want to spend some time in exploring all the options that are available to our clients or to the community. Now, these options would include insurance, it would include prepaid services, it would include charity from the FEPA, it would also include Social Security benefits. The list goes on, but we want to make sure that our community is aware of the options available and hopefully equip them with the education and resources that they need to make the proper decision. So once all that information is on the table, we want to help them plan. And in this planning process, not only are we talking about strategies to help them to decide, but want to make sure that in the event they do decide on a product or a particular program to support their family's needs, just to make sure that there is a plan in place around that as well. And then lastly, in our workshops, we talk about assistance. We know that sometimes many of our members may not have the financial resources, the educational capacity, you might say, to really make good decisions and provide this kind of protection for their families. We want them to know that they do have a place to go. We want them to know that there are other options available, nevertheless, that can help them protect their families. I'm under the opinion that everyone needs to be protected. Now, as I mentioned, during the workshop, we will define what final expense protection is. And just in a nutshell, final expense protection is two things. Number one is the pre-planned allocation of funds. The key word is pre-planned. You're not really protecting yourself having a final expense protection plan in place if you're not thinking about this thing ahead of time. So we really encourage our community to really think through this inevitable event, the event that we will all die. So it's important that we have the tools and resources in place. So we define that. But then also, part of final expense protection is having the plan portion. It's not enough just to have the resources available, but also to make sure that we have a program in place that would administer that plan for the benefit of our family. Now, when we talk about the education process, we break that down into three simple steps. The first step is to determine the need. And how we help individuals determine the needs, we have to ask them some questions. What do you prefer, whether it's a traditional funeral or cremation or some other means, or maybe it's a religious preference? What about cost? What are the financial implications to your decisions that you make? Now, in terms of exploring needs, it's really going to fall into actually one of these three categories. And the first category is insurance. And by the way, this is the most popular category. Many individuals use this category, but obviously there's so many different types of products available. It's important that the community has a resource, somewhere they can go to make sure they find the best product to meet their particular niche or need. And then there's also a category called pre-need or prepaid, if you will. These are individuals who, first of all, acknowledge the fact that I will die. And let me just go forward and make sure to make some pre-planned arrangements, whether I go directly to a funeral home or a crematory or whatever the case may be. I'm just going to do this ahead of time, and I'm going to pay for it ahead of time, as opposed to the insurance, which is more of a month-by-month basis. And then the last category in terms of exploration of these options is self-funding. This is a real big area because a lot of people who find themselves without a plan do self-fund just by default. Rather, their estate, the money in their estate will be used to cover these final expenses, or it falls on the back of their family. And then lastly, in determining needs and exploring the education of final expense protection, we want to help you or walk you through how to make the decision, the selection process. Now, in our workshops, we'll go through a lot of detail on the difference between this program and that program, from a cost, advantage, disadvantage, the list goes on and on. But in terms of proactive coverage, we want to make sure that individuals are aware of the three options to cover themselves in this area. And then there's also some reactive coverage that we want to make sure people are aware of as well, because sometimes if you don't know what's out there, you may not know what to ask for. There's many organizations out there that are supporting our community around this important issue, including the FEPA or FEPA. And then there's also the family. How many times have you been in a situation where you had a loved one who died unexpectedly and the family had to come together to raise funds for the funeral or the cremation? Now, this is not an ideal situation for anyone, but we believe that the reason why many people find themselves uncovered is because they don't realize how economical or how manageable it could be if you have the right resources. Now, the last area that we cover in our workshops is really going to be around the assistance that the FEPA provides, as well as making sure that we strategize with our community on the different options that are available to them to meet their need, irrespective of their budgetary constraints. Case in point, if you have no money, then there are some strategies that we can do or implement that can help protect your family nevertheless. Now, it may not be everything that you want, but it's better than nothing. Now, in the assistance category, I want the members to be aware that the FEPA does have charity programs or financial assistance in three main areas. The first is a premium support program. We'll talk about this more in the seminar, but the premium support program essentially says that, hey, you can't afford the coverage that you need and you need some help or some supplemental help around meeting this need, or you lost your job and you have a particular program or policy, but you need some assistance through this tough time. The premium support program will help that. Now, also, there is the uninsured bank program. This is the program where individuals find themselves in a situation where they're dealing with the death of a loved one and have no resources to bury them or to give them a cremation. Well, the FEPA could be an option or an avenue for them to get additional financial stipends to help with this particular point. Now, you may ask, why would the FEP want to do this? Well, in a nutshell, we believe that everyone deserves their respect, everyone deserves honor, everyone deserves recognition upon death. Now, I also believe that there is a sideline ministry to what we do as well, because there is a process on how we say bye to our loved ones that should elevate and grow us and help us to move forward in our own lives. So we want to make sure that that process can continue to grow. So in closing, I just want to encourage you to allow us to come into your facility, or even for them to come to our facility, and allow us to take this time to educate them around the importance of final expense protection and how it can be used to protect their families financially, emotionally, and socially. So here are the next steps. The first thing to do is to contact the FEPA. As I mentioned, my name is James Frazier. I am a program director for the FEPA. My number is 925-596-3177. And upon our discussion, we would block a date out that fits your schedule, where we can come in and provide this important workshop to your members. Thanks for your time and consideration. I look forward to meeting with you and hearing from you soon. Thank you.